The new DPWH chief gets down to business as he asks the Justice Department to issue an immigration lookout bulletin order for controversial figures in the flood control scandal. For the details, Paolo Barcelon now joins us live from Quezon City. Hi, Paolo. Who is covered by this immigration lookout order?
Among those personalities that were listed by newly installed Secretary Vince Dizon of the DPWH are flood control royalties Curly and Sara Discaya, the general manager of Wawaw Builders Mark Alan Arevalo, and DPWH officials Henry Alcantara and Bryce Hernandez. Also among the list are top honchos of companies who bagged major flood control projects. Dizon says this is to ensure that investigations on the flood control scandal will proceed without delay. In a bid to also further weed out corruption at the source, Dizon has also ordered a 2-week pause on the bidding of all locally funded DPWH projects to allow the agency to put safeguards against corruption. The DPWH chief says they need to review and study all projects on the president's orders, saying that President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. does not want any more of taxpayer money going down the drain. Bye.
So what projects, Paolo, have been ordered for review, and will this affect overseas funded projects?
Well, Maya, Secretary Dizon says all locally funded DPWH projects that are under bidding, that bidding will be suspended. So whether it's for flood control, whether it's for infrastructure, whether it's for roads, these are currently suspended for 2 weeks to allow the agency to put safeguards in place. Because we talked to Secretary Dizon earlier, and he said that this is just one way of trying to prune corruption from the source. So from the bidding process, they will determine what processes need to be changed, what processes need to be kept, and after 2 weeks they will resume bidding for these locally funded projects. Now, if we're talking about foreign funded projects, these will continue as planned. And if you're going to ask me about projects that have already been awarded, Secretary Dizon says they will honor the awarding of these projects and will closely monitor its implementation to avoid the presence of the so-called ghost projects which have been hounding the DPWH as of late.
So, Paolo, still on the flood control scandal, you joined Pasig Mayor Vico Soto as he checked out the construction of the Ortigas subway station. How did he weigh in on this flood control scandal? I know he has been vocal in recent weeks about this issue.
Well, we asked earlier if Mayor Soto will attend the Senate probe on the ongoing flood control. Not just Senate, but different houses of Congress are holding probes. He said that if he is required by any chamber of Congress to attend these probes, he's willing to attend them. These discussions on flood control would not end anytime soon. And he also says that the local government of Pasig is cooperating, doing its share in finding out what caused these messes. He says that documents have been turned over by the Pasig LGU to relevant authorities. Mike.
Right. So, Paolo, finally this morning, Acting Secretary Giovanni Lopez also formally took over the reins of the DOTR from Secretary Dizon. What are his marching orders?
Well, it's really mostly continuity, of the different policies. Secretary Lopez says that the agency will still continue going after adding drivers. They will still continue addressing corruption in the DOTR. In fact, he weighed in on a recent report of corruption in the LTO in Region 2, and he says that these personnel have now been sanctioned properly by the agency. He also gave updates on some very important projects in the transportation sector, among them that the PUV modernization program will continue. They are still finding ways to have drivers who haven't been consolidated yet to find a way to consolidate themselves. He also says that a department order that will legalize and formalize the inclusion of motorcycle taxis in the country's public utility transport mix is still being finalized, and we can expect these updates to continue in the coming weeks. Finally, he also gave an update on the construction of big ticket at transport infrastructure projects such as the NSCR, the North-South Commuter Railway, and the Metro Manila Subway. He says that they are finding ways to address right-of-way issues and that hopefully they can find a way to at least accomplish a big part of these right-of-way issues by the year ends. Mike.
Right, so much to do in the Transportation Department as well. Thanks, Paolo. Paolo Barcelon there live from Quezon City.